Today I'll be reviewing this beauty, the TS3 iron from the Golfworks. Let's get started. Hey golfers, Dave from Fit2 Golf. Based on your comments, a lot of you were curious about this new offering from the Golfworks, and quite frankly, I was too. As soon as I saw the specs on it, even before it was released, I thought, you know, this is the modern day update of the TE Forged. Now, if you're not familiar with that club, the Maltby TE Forged is similar to this, a solid, true forged iron that's been in the Golfworks lineup for forever. I still think a lot of that iron, even at or maybe especially at the price that you can get it at now, but it's getting a little long in the tooth and maybe a little bit dated in its looks and its lofts, and so I think this is the modern update. Now, in terms of similarities to the TE Forged, this is basically the identical head shape and size, virtually identical sole width, and offset. This has progressive offset, very minimal, versus the constant offset on the TE Forged. But that's basically where they part ways. If you look at the TS3, this is a true forged build here, but it does have a tungsten weight towards the toe, so some more forgiveness and maybe some center of gravity wizardry. It also has a really nice satin finish. It's very subdued, very clean looking. The TS3 and Maltby emblem are embossed on it. They don't really jump out, though it has a chrome sole. Now it's I think a little more game improvement in terms of where the weighting is, and also there's a little more perimeter weighting, so you do get a more of a medium thick top line. It has a universal hosel, so it'll accept either taper tip or parallel, and it comes in at a reasonable price of around $55 a head. So in terms of the club head specs and the build, this is came in at 266 grams, which is right on the money. 32 degrees aloft on this 7 iron. That was also right on. My iron did come in a degree upright, so I bent that back to spec, but otherwise, you know, really quality in terms of its tolerances. Now, for the swings you're going to see on video, I paired it with one of my favorite steel shafts, the Nippon NS Pro 950 regular flex. I really like that shaft a lot. It CPM's dead on, so this is right at 5.0 with a 50 gram grip, cut to 37 inches. The swing weight was D1. So let's go to the range and talk you through some of the feels and sounds of the club. Okay, I've had a few swings with the TS3 and quite frankly had to delete the first couple of attempts here. I got a case of the shanks working on my swing a little bit, but I'm gonna just hit a few and hopefully I'll hit them well, and I can tell you how the club sounds and feels and performs. Oh, that felt really nice. Tad heavy, but center of the face. Try another. Yeah, also a little heavy, but pretty good forgiveness for catching a little heavy and a little toey. Try another one. Yeah, nice. It feels really good. You know when you're near the center of the face. And I have to say that it feels really good. Even I'm looking at my strikes; they're just a little tad towards the heel side, and you'd never know it. Yeah, nice club. Might have to make a set. And I did build myself a set. Right after I tested this club, I pulled the TE Forged heads off of my Excalibur Rapid Taper shafts, 95 grams, graphite, stiff flex, and installed the TS3 heads 4 through pitching wedge onto those shafts, and I really am liking that combination. Now I want to apologize that while I didn't get a chance to film kind of head-to-head TS3 against the TS1, which some of you requested, and TS1 is what's in one of my other sets I play regularly. I will do some comparisons here in terms of performance, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the feel and some of the differences in those two heads. So the TS3 paired with the Excalibur Rapid Taper shafts, swinging at 78 miles an hour, getting ball speed of 107, launching at 18 degrees, carry 151, spinning at 5400, and getting a peak height of 72 feet. I'm going to compare that to the TS1. If you're not familiar with that, it's also a forged iron, but it's a 3-piece hollow iron, and so you're supposed to get a little bit more ball speed, and it's supposed to be a little bit different feel and different sound, which again I'll talk about in a second. So just as a comparison, my numbers with the TS1 were swinging at 81 miles an hour, getting ball speeds of 107, launching at 18 degrees, carrying at 152, spinning at 6100, and a peak height of 78 feet. Now those are very similar. Some slight differences there in terms of getting lower spin with the TS3 and slightly less height. Both perform really, really well. I mean, if you really wanted to nitpick, I would say, okay, I'm going to take the TS3s out in wet conditions and the TS1s in dry, but really they're very similar, and I like the performance from both of them. All right, now in terms of sound and feel compared to these two, and I imagine this is a pretty good comparison to the other hollow-bodied irons that Golfworks offers. They feel and sound different. I've read things online that say that it's, minimal, or maybe there's a difference, but you can't tell. They sound and feel different. They both sound and feel great, but they're different. The TS3 has a more solid feel and sound, which I guess you'd expect from a solid forged club head. And the TS1 feels a little softer and sounds a little softer, if that's a sound. Both are pleasing, but you might prefer one or the other, but subjectively, they definitely did sound and feel different to me. Now, granted, they're paired with different shafts. I'm not so sure that affects the sound so much. It might affect the feel a bit, but they're both stiff flex graphite shafts. I mean, there's a 10 gram or so difference between the two of them. But if sound and feel are important to you, you should really try them both. Although, as I said, they both sound and feel great. So to wrap up my review, I'll say there are very few cons to this iron and lots of pros. The performance is great. The looks are spectacular. The price is good. The forgiveness is good. I highly recommend them. The only con, I guess, is a con. The top line is medium-ish. I'll put up a down-the-ground comparison to the TS1, which has, I think, a fairly thin top line. And you can see that it's a little thicker, but it's by no means like chunky. But just in terms of aesthetics, that might be something that's important to people. I got to give it an eagle. This is a terrific club, great performer, nice feel, nice sound. I said all that, but definitely worth checking out. So let me know if you have questions. Post your comments below, and subscribe if you haven't. And check out the next review when that comes out. Until then, stay positive.